Here we go.
Okay, ready?
Yep.
Hey everyone.
We're Nick.
And Rachel. And today's vlog is going to be a little bit different because normally you will find us vlogging our travels around the world. But I don't know if you can tell, we're kind of nowhere. In fact, we are back home in Canada. And that's because we kind of completed our goal of traveling around the world for 1 year. I mean, it did end up taking us 14 months, although that for me was an accomplishment because it meant I stretched our points and money for even longer than we anticipated. But can you believe it?
Not really. It's been really crazy to think about because now that we've actually had some time to kind of let the dust settle and really reflect back on it, it's kind of nuts just how much we've actually ended up doing.
We did a huge amount. It's wild.
Like, even though it was a year and you think that's so much time, we were packing so much in there.
And it flew by.
And yeah, but all in all, an absolutely awesome experience. But while we're in a state of reflection, we decided to just have some thoughts about it, really look back on the travels and try and sort of figure out the best bits and also try and get a sense of just how much we managed to accomplish in the time that we did. And so really that's going to be the theme of today's video. We're going to look back at our amazing year and a bit in travel with you. So with that, grab whatever drink you want, get yourself in a comfortable position, and we'll take you through our year in travel. Okay, so to start our video off, we really wanted to just rattle off some quick stats that we've compiled. I've got these on my phone now, so let's get into it. Over the past, I want to say 15 months, we ended up visiting 32 countries, 33 if you count the Vatican, over 6 continents. And that meant that we ended up visiting a grand total of 137 destinations. And that's not even including the stopovers that we may have ended up taking to get to certain places. And we covered an entire 86,000 miles. And to give you an idea of just how much that actually means, the circumference of the world is 24,900 miles. So that means that we have technically covered the globe 3 times and a bit extra. Kind of crazy when you think about it. Otherwise, we stayed in 139 different beds. We've been on 65 flights with 25 different airlines. That took us through 67 different airports, and we ended up rating 46 different lounges. That's insane.
That is insane. Thank you to our Amex Business Platinum card for actually getting us into those lounges, because I will say that has saved us so many times in terms of not having to get a hotel overnight, which has saved us money because we can just sleep in the lounges. And it saved us a ton in terms of food cost, because sometimes we'll have breakfast and lunch in a lounge or dinner, and so we're just not having to spend the money on food for a day.
Yeah, it's been such a money saver. All in all, that's been a really, really good way to do things. So if you have the means to do so, then definitely trying to get yourself on top of a priority pass or whatever lounge pass would suit you really helps. And then in terms of what we've ended up doing for sort of social media and trying to capture our experiences, we ended up taking, well, I mostly ended up taking 22,500 photos. I got a bit snap happy by all admissions, but there were a lot of really cool things, so I feel justified.
And then I have to go through all of those photos and whittle them down, so, you know.
Sorry.
It's quite the experience.
But that then got converted into 191 Instagram posts, which are still on our Instagram. And we have also managed to publish 243 travel vlogs documenting our experiences. And on top of that, we did another 32 tips and tricks videos, which actually brings up our round total of 275 videos about this amazing round the world trip.
Which, in my opinion, is absolutely prolific. To have done that in 14 or 15 months is insane. The amount of work, especially on Nick's part, that goes into editing these videos is absolutely huge. I think that's monumental when you are traveling and working at the same time. And by work, I mean not working a regular job, doing the editing, that's the job.
Yeah, and I think it was interesting because it wasn't a kind of type of travel that we were used to before. Typically, you would just go on holiday and you would spend your entire time just trying to maximize the experience as much as you possibly could. But when you're firstly on a budget, but also you're trying to then rattle off content as well, the general routine was we would spend half the day up to sort of midway through the afternoon just doing the touristy stuff that we wanted to. And then the rest of the day would honestly be just working. You'd be doing all of the photo work to get Instagram stuff out there, and you'd also be taking care of like the logistics and the arrangements and everything like that. Meanwhile, I was editing to make sure that the videos were done pretty much that day. It was at times pretty intense, especially if we'd had like a really big day going and sightseeing and stuff. But I think after a while and getting used to it, we ended up really getting into a rhythm with it, and it ended up being really, really cool. Yeah,
and to me, having this travel diary of memories that we can look back on forever is the most special thing, because when you have videos as opposed to photos, at least I feel, it's like I'm reliving it and I'm there, I can experience it again. But I think it is an important distinction to make, the difference between when you're going on vacation, when you don't necessarily have as much of a budget because it's a short period of time, versus traveling, where you really do have to be budget conscious the whole time. But I also don't want people to feel badly for us because we have chosen to document our travels.
Yeah, 100%. Like, I definitely don't have any regrets about the way that we did things, but it obviously did just throw an added dimension into what we were doing. So like in those instances whereby maybe somebody would be filling in a gap in their day by going out and doing an extra thing, or maybe they were just looking ahead to kind of a travel day experience as just being swept up in all of it and not having to think about anything else. We were still thinking about how to document things. We were still thinking about, oh, I've got a bit of time now. Should I just get some editing done? Or is there something else I need to think about for this particular video or something like that?
Yeah, so, or for me, because I do all of the travel planning, should I be booking something now? Is it going to sell out? Or am I missing something in a future country that I haven't considered? Are we staying there long enough? Yeah, there is a lot to think about.
Definitely.
But all good things.
We really just want to try and just best capture what we ended up doing and why traveling the way that we did was so great, and like the amount of fun that you can have by just putting yourself out there and really going for the experience.
And we encourage anyone who's thinking about it to do it. This has been the best experience of my life. I think also your life. And so if you ever have any questions or you need help, just leave us a comment or drop us a message, because we are so passionate about this and we would love to help other people be able to do the same thing. I know you have more things that you want to talk about in this video.
Absolutely.
So let's move on from...
We've gone over the stats that I hope give some gravity to what we've actually done, because like when I look through these, it's still mind-blowing. We're going to go into a little section that I'm now referring to as the best of section. So we have, or well, mostly I have been keeping track of a lot of the things that we've been doing by way of like how we view it. So obviously we've been going around the lounges and we've been giving our lounge ratings based on our experiences. But in the same way, I wanted to go a little bit deeper than that and also be like, okay, what do we think are like our best airlines, best plane experiences, all of that kind of stuff as well, to give you guys really a sense of what we think would be the best things that you should be doing if you're planning on doing something like this. So we're going to start this section off by saying, what was our favorite place to stay? Not country, but just accommodation.
We have stayed in good places. There have been some bad ones, but most of them have been good, and there have also been very few exceptional ones just because we are budget travelers.
Yes.
And if someone was traveling the way we did, I would recommend probably the majority of places we stayed to them. But I think what we're about to talk about is more the places that we would also recommend our friends and family if they were just going on vacation.
Yes.
Okay. So my favorite accommodation was in Argentina. It was an Airbnb. The location in Palermo was fantastic. It was brand new. It was modern. It was clean. It has the most comfortable bed I have slept in my entire life. It had blackout curtains. There was an AC/heating unit that you could control. It worked great either direction. It had a mini kitchen. It had hot water, which not all the places we stayed do. It was completely private. Mm-hmm. And for all those reasons, it was my favorite place we have stayed. I mean, my Fitbit would confirm that every night we stayed there, I've had some of the best sleeps I've gotten since I had my Fitbit. But we do have a few other recommendations. So do you want to just...
Yeah, we did go over these like before the video just because we wanted to collect our thoughts, but we're going to just rattle them off now. So we got Kuala Lumpur, Antigua in Guatemala. The place that we stayed near Cradle Mountain was absolutely gorgeous. When we were in Tasmania, other honorable mentions, the place that we stayed in Marissa was like, it was a teeny tiny self-contained resort, and I think it was like the first time that we'd seen a swimming pool for absolutely ages when we were in Sri Lanka. So getting to experience that for a few days, plus the free breakfast that they included, was absolutely divine as well, which really helped. And that was just so conveniently located because you were never far away from a beach, you were never far away from like a good restaurant or anything like that. So as far as that went, that was great too. And finally, and this one might be a surprise to a number of you, but the place we stayed in, Luxor, as well.
I think what you have to keep in mind with the one in Luxor and Marissa, they're nice, but they're not luxury accommodations. So just keep that in mind. Whereas like the B&Bs, they're not like the most luxurious hotel, but they are, if you're from like England or Canada, the same standard as if you went to a B&B here.
Yeah.
So they're lovely, whereas the other ones are not luxury accommodations in terms of Luxor and Marissa, but I would still feel confident recommending them to friends and family because they were actually pretty nice.
Yeah.
Well, we stayed in 136 beds.
139.
Oh, 100, sorry, I've misread that. 139 beds. So, I mean, to narrow it down that much, I think is pretty good.
We tried, people. We really tried. So we now move on to other things that we ended up kind of just ranking in our heads. So the first one is actually the cheapest places to stay. Now, I've actually been keeping a spreadsheet about this, so I'm just going to pull that up. And not to sound clickbaity, but the results might surprise you. So based on the countries, all of you people at home, what do you think would be the most expensive that we've been to, considering that we've been to, you know, Oceania, Europe?
Yeah, leave us a comment below with what you think the most expensive country we stayed in was and the least expensive country we stayed in. And when we calculated this, we calculated it based on only accommodation, the average price per night, because we don't have all the costs of every single tour, because some we would have paid in cash, others I do have copies of.
Yeah.
And some we took trains, some we took buses, some we took like Ubers or Grabs, so it was really hard to do. Yeah. So this is purely based on accommodation cost.
The ones that we stayed in. Coming up at the top of the list of the most expensive country that we stayed in, and this is bearing in mind that we were just outside of peak season as well.
That's true.
Italy.
Yeah.
Italy was the most expensive place we stayed.
And my understanding is it was the most expensive by far.
It's a full nearly $8 more expensive on average than the second most expensive country, which was New Zealand.
On the opposite end of the scale?
The absolute cheapest, drumroll please, Vietnam! Yeah.
I don't know what I did there.
I don't know either. I'm for it, like, it worked, I think. Did it? You let us know. So yeah, Vietnam came in at just under $10 per night.
That's wild.
Yep.
Like, that's so cheap. $10 US?
$10 US per night.
Just so you know, Nick has calculated this in Canadian dollars and US dollars, which is why I'm clarifying. I mean, he put in a lot of effort to this, because sometimes he had to convert it from US dollars, from the currency of the country. I mean, it was all over the map, so he standardized it.
Don't say I'm not putting in effort again.
And then after that, Okay, so also Cambodia and Sri Lanka were pretty cheap because they were about $10.50 per night too. A lot of the places in Sri Lanka, I want to mention, included breakfast and like humongous breakfasts.
You were so well treated there. I think the stats are kind of telling though, because generally speaking, aside from maybe like the top 10, then pretty much everywhere we stayed, like all of the countries that we went to, were 30 USD and under per night.
Right. So what was our total average for the whole trip then? Or are you saying that was 30?
So the total average, if you'll just all bear with me a second, was $32.88. US.
Per night. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, considering we had a budget of $100 Canadian per day, that's not bad. Because that would probably be about $45 Canadian or something.
Yeah, that thereabouts.
Per night.
Yeah.
And then when you have to add in like daily transportation and tours and food, it left you with 55 Canadian dollars. Not bad. Yeah. Just so everyone knows, we definitely did go over the $100 per day average. Yeah. But we had also saved enough. And there were some days that we were way under and other days where we were just way over. But on balance, I think it was probably just over 100 Canadian dollars a day. But that makes sense based on accommodation.
Exactly. Yeah. Okay, we now move on to, I'm sure this is something that some of you at least would be the most interested in, and that is to figure out what we consider to be the best and worst airport lounges based on our ratings and findings. So I'm going to pull up my trusty spreadsheet for that one as well. Bringing up the absolute rear, worst I feel really, really bad for demonizing a lounge experience, but it is kind of awful. And certainly if you are willing to put up the money to go for a lounge experience, we really want to just avoid you wasting your time and money.
Yeah.
So this is why we're trying to ward you off this particular one. Purely because we didn't have anywhere near a good experience or not anything that was kind of near our expectations of a lounge. So yeah. Take this with a pinch of salt at your leisure, but our worst one, unfortunately, was the quote-unquote first-class lounge in Cairo.
It's called a first-class lounge, I didn't realize that.
I feel like that's the branding rather than the actual level that it's trying to provide you, but it definitely seems a bit of a misnomer on reflection.
100%. I mean...
Oh, it was not great. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a comfortable seat, but there really wasn't much else that was that redeemable beyond that.
There were barely any drinks and food, and what there was of food wasn't great quality either.
There was stale bread.
Like, I think you would have been better just hanging out in the airport and probably going to one of the fast food or restaurants out there. That would be worth your money. Yeah,
it just wasn't what we were hoping for, I think. And so, because it really did not match up to our expectations, and this is why we're rating it so low. But anyway,
in stark contrast,
exactly, on happier notes, I'm going to give you our top 3. So coming up in 3rd place, drum roll please.
I don't know if I should do another drum roll. Should we just like insert clip of actually good drum roll?
Just do it, it's fine. It's the IGA Lounge in Istanbul. Woo! Yep, that one was absolutely huge. The food was incredible, and I think that was probably one of our first experiences of just like one of these kind of almost super lounges, really, that just had literally everything you could think of and more. So that was awesome, and that came in at a very good 43 out of 50. There are also other ones that did come in at 43, so just going to give these ones a note and a mention too. So we're also talking about the Royal Jordanian in Amman. The Centurion Lounge in Hong Kong was possibly the best drinks experience that I think I'd ever had.
I think we gave that a 10 out of 10 on drinks.
Yeah, exactly, and that was the first place that we'd given a 10 to.
They make you bespoke cocktails.
Yeah, exactly. They have a full cocktail menu that you can have, and you can basically ask for literally any drink and they will have it for you. So yeah, as far as that went, that was incredible, and pretty much everything else was really, really good. The only thing was it wasn't the most comfortable experience, so that was why it was rated down. So in 3rd place, as a joint 3rd place, then it would be the IGA Lounge in Istanbul, the Royal Jordanian Lounge in Amman, and finally the Centurion Lounge in Hong Kong. In 2nd place, drumroll please, the Prime Class Lounge in Muscat, Oman. This one really took us by surprise.
Yeah, for a long time this was my favorite and I loved it.
Yeah, this was absolutely incredible. It really blew us away. Like, the food was everywhere and there were so many good drinks options. But I think the real thing where it was a class apart was the amenities.
Yeah, the amenities were absolutely wild. They had table tennis, they had like a sports center, they had a full-on child care playroom, and they even had sleeping rooms that had, I don't know, probably like a queen-size bed that was super comfortable and your own private washroom. It was like a hotel suite within the lounge, and they had a few of those. They had a business or conference room. I mean, the amenities were unlike anything I've ever seen in any other lounge.
Yeah, I think they also had like a movie theatre as well.
They did.
Yeah, they had a cinema. I think it's one of the kind of most unique experiences that we've ever gone to, and that was amazing.
And it wasn't even a business class or first
class. Not at all. No. Like, every single one of the lounges that we've listed so far is all available through Priority Pass. So if you do find yourself in any of these airports, just go, like, make a beeline. Go straight to those. They are so good. But in first place, and this might be cheating a little bit because it is technically a business class lounge, but drum roll please.
Okay, you have to make a different sound this time. You do it, and I'll say it. Yours is much better. The Silvercrest Lounge!
Well deserved. This place absolutely knocked our socks off. We just come off of a 2-hour flight coming from Vietnam, where the lounge experience was, it was fine. But then we stepped in, and it was around Christmas anyway. And they just had the works.
Yeah, they had a carving station. They had was it like a ramen station?
Yeah. Oh, was it?
No, a laksa station. They had
Yeah.
sushi. They had sandwiches. They had a bunch of stuff you could take away. They had other hot food, fruit. They had a salad, dessert. They had beer and wine refrigerator dispensers, or like vending machine dispensers.
Self-service champagne as well, just
They
in case
had
you wanted that.
chocolate almond milk, okay? I mean, that for me, automatic 10.
I love it. We've literally just gone through some of the most luxurious things that we've ever seen in a lounge, and you're focused on chocolate almond milk. It's brilliant.
I mean,
it's not lost on me.
That's me.
Yeah, but I think beyond that, though, like, it was a busy lounge, but the very fact that it had the space and the capacity to be able to do that without really impeding the user experience, it was awesome. So yeah, if you ever get a stopover in Singapore Changi and you are flying business class with Singapore Airlines, just head straight in. You're never going to regret it. It's so good. But hopefully, as our travel evolves over time, then we'll get to enjoy even more lounges. Like, this list will keep evolving, it will keep expanding, and so yeah, we'll keep bringing you along, and we'll keep on rating the lounges. It's not going to stop here.
What's the next?
So I think the final one, and this may be a bit more opinion based,
okay,
and I feel like this also needs to be kind of a two-parter as well, is the best experience with an airline. Obviously, we ended up doing majority economy flights. We did do some business class too. So I kind of want to split it, because fundamentally, business class is genuinely a class above.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the best economy experience that we had when we were flying.
Okay, mine, unlike with their lounge, I loved Egypt Air economy.
Yes.
It was a really, really nice experience. The seats were comfortable, the staff were absolutely lovely, and the food they served us on like an hour-long economy flight was so good. They served us burek. It was my first experience with it, and it was delicious.
Yeah, that was so good.
So for that reason, for me, Egypt Air economy, top notch.
Yeah, I think that's probably the one that really surprised me, because we've been on a number of other airlines like, Etihad, Thai Airways, LATAM, all of which already have like an absolutely stellar reputation, and obviously like you're going to have a great time because you're going to get really good food, and you're also going to get great entertainment options, even if you're just on an economy flight. But yeah, Egypt Air kind of bowled me over. Like, even though we were only on like a 2-hour, what would be considered short haul flight, we still got a full slap up meal. That burek was amazing. And yeah, they kind of just treated us really, really well. It was great.
Yeah, and what you were saying about LATAM, I just want to touch on that. In South America, for short haul, we often flew Avianca or LATAM. And LATAM would always give you snacks and a drink, and they had entertainment on their flights, even the short haul, and Avianca doesn't have those things. So I think that is worth a mention when you're comparing South American airlines, for sure.
Agreed. Okay, now on to the big ticket. Best business class experience. And I feel like I already know the answer, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
Well, because I don't think that... We did have a few business class flights, but this one was just so above and beyond.
It was nuts.
So it was our Singapore Airlines business class flight, well, between Vietnam and Singapore, and then Singapore and Sydney, Australia.
Yes.
I mean, it was amazing with the lay flat bed. We had enough time because it was a long haul flight to enjoy all of the amenities. And it was just fantastic.
Yeah, but I think honourable mentions go to the other business class experiences that we did have, because we did end up, like, not really by design, but we ended up having business class experiences with both Egypt Air and Turkish Airlines as well. Considering the fact that these were maybe an hour long each, they still did the full business class service. I was amazed. Like, they literally gave you a welcome drink before they even started taking off. Literally, they were hawking over pretty much everybody, just trying to sort of be like, okay, I'm going to quickly take your glass, take your glass, take your glass. As soon as we were up at kind of any kind of cruising altitude, right, food, go, 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 go. It was incredibly efficient. So I think that's got to really get a special mention.
Yeah, I mean, I barely had time to finish my meal. In fact, I did not finish my meal on these flights because they had to take it away from you before landing.
Yeah.
But it was just such a shock that, as you said, it was a full business class experience, even on a short haul flight.
Yeah. So I think all of the business class experiences that we did end up having were absolutely wonderful, but like getting to be on a lay flat bed in an A380 with Singapore Airlines was the icing on the cake.
And I think one of the things we should mention is that we were never traveling with checked luggage.
No.
So we don't have any awful experiences about our luggage being delayed or lost.
No.
So we don't have really any complaints from these airlines either. The only thing we had happen with flights was that I think we had 2 of them be canceled.
Yeah.
In the course of 14 months, which I don't think is bad.
We got very lucky.
But we were always able to rearrange them and get to where we wanted on time. So it really didn't cause us much hassle, because I know there's always complaints about the airline industry, but I also think that when you're traveling for 14 months, even if you did have checked luggage, like, you got to expect that your luggage is going to be lost, a flight is going to be delayed. That was the other thing. Maybe there were minor delays for us, but we really had nothing that it never affected our itinerary.
Things went, generally speaking, pretty smoothly. I think the only times where we really came up against problems was just getting into the airports in the first place, because we maybe got there ahead of when we should have.
But that's on us. I mean,
we did that complacently, thinking we'd just be able to get into the lounge, but we had no idea that the airport's policy was that you can only turn up like 3 hours before your flight. So yeah, that was on us. It just meant that we had some uncomfortable experiences in airports, and
that's not a consistent rule around the world, so that's why it's hard to tell.
We only really encountered it when we were in Asia, and I think Egypt as well. So yeah, but that's just something to bear in mind. But that still didn't take away from our experiences.
No, we got very lucky.
Let's get on our feels for a second and go over what did we think were like our favourite countries, because we do get asked this a lot. Like, we've obviously been to a number of places and everybody's like, oh, what's been your favourite? And I don't think it's possible to just really zero in on one.
No, I actually hate when we get this question. I don't mind it by region, though, because that's easier to narrow down, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when you've been to, how many was it? 32 countries, it's really hard to pick what was your favorite. So I've narrowed it down to my top 3, and the top 3 are in no particular order because they all have their own merits, and I just can't choose between them.
No.
So my top 3 places would be Sri Lanka, Australia, and then Galapagos. And the reason I'm not saying Ecuador is because we only went to the Galapagos, so I can only speak to that. But yeah, those are my top 3.
Yeah, I think honestly it's probably been the same. But I do want to give some honourable mentions, because I think that there were some other countries that Like, I knew were going to be good, but I didn't anticipate just how good they were going to be. And so I think my shout-outs would definitely be Vietnam, Jordan.
100% Jordan. Yeah.
Jordan was amazing. Peru, I don't know why, I just loved it so much. It was just so nice. And I think it was also because we just spent some really extended time in Cusco to just really soak up kind of living there for a bit.
Yeah, that was actually a really different experience for us because we don't normally stay in one place for so long, but because we were adjusting to altitude, we were able to establish our own routine there, actually. So it was really lovely.
Absolutely. And like with Peru, I was just bowled over by how nice everybody was. It was really, really cool. So I think those would be kind of the main ones. And then, you know, there are other ones which kind of everybody already knows are great, like New Zealand, Thailand, Costa Rica, and all of that kind of stuff as well.
Yeah, I have one more honorable mention.
Go on.
And I'm sure people already know how amazing it is, but I don't know. It just like weaseled its way into my heart.
Which one?
I think you know what I'm going to say.
Go on.
I loved Argentina.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I want to go back and explore so much more of this country. I am absolutely obsessed with it, and I just love it and can't wait to go back.
We're already making plans, so watch this space for 2025. So, next one, and this is probably going to be another one where we have a lot of honorable mentions as well, but most unforgettable experience.
That is so difficult for me. Because we've had so many amazing experiences.
Yeah.
Like, we did save our money.
Yeah.
So that we could have some unforgettable experiences, because we didn't want to go through this only on a budget, but like having not done anything. Off the top of my head, I would say Cappadocia, the hot air balloon ride, was incredible. I think what also has to go on that is probably like more predictable, but the Great Barrier Reef. I mean, that is a bucket list item, I feel like. And then also, I loved the Tongariro crossing in New Zealand. And by that same account, I absolutely loved Acatenango in Guatemala. I do really, really enjoy physical challenges. Because I just feel so strong and accomplished afterwards, because I'm pushing a fraction outside my comfort zone when I do it. And then I grow as a result of it. So I think that those are probably my top experiences. But we've had so many, so it's hard to choose. Kate, what do you think?
Yeah, I do think some of the hikes do deserve a mention, even though I'm not quite as enthusiastic about the idea of physical challenges. But like at the end of the day, after looking back on the accomplishments, you know, getting up Rainbow Mountain, getting up Acatenango, getting up Tongariro, like it's very much a type 2 fun kind of situation where you're not having fun doing it, but you definitely have fun looking back on what you've achieved. So I think, you know, definitely that is worth mentioning. But I don't know, I think for me it's literally just being able to check off all of these truly incredible places. Like, I think, you know, seeing places like the Taj Mahal, Halong Bay, the Great Barrier Reef,
the pyramids for you was huge.
Yeah, the pyramids, even Machu Picchu, even though it wasn't necessarily the best experience of the day, it was still amazing to be there. So I think those were true highlights. I think in terms of actual kind of experiences though, I definitely agree, being in a hot air balloon for the first time was epic. I mean, what a landscape to check out.
Yeah.
But I think what would probably be up there for me, the Elephant Sanctuary in Thailand.
Right, oh, I forgot about that. See, there's so many. Yes.
Yeah, that was amazing. I mean, it was pretty special enough to go and see them on safari in Sri Lanka, because we got so close to them, genuinely, like maybe 10 feet away. But like to actually then go like a step beyond that and actually interact with them, feed them, pet them, all of that kind of thing, and just really get a sense of just how gentle these giants are. Yeah, that was really, really special.
That way, and then see, that makes me then think, oh, Wadi Rum. Like, I know it's not connected by elephants, but like the Wadi Rum experience was amazing.
That's true.
That's why this is so hard to choose. Maybe it's better to be like, oh, we could do a top 10 experience, but the 10 are in no particular order. It's just 10 amazing ones. So we are so lucky, because clearly we can't choose.
Absolutely. Like, there were so many incredible things that we were very lucky to get to do. So yeah, I mean, honorable mentions to all of those. I think this may be just like the kid in me, but I think like the most special experiences always involved animals in some variety, especially like the marine life, because I'd never really had an opportunity to go kind of and get up close and personal with them before now. So finally getting to check those kinds of things off the list was so special. Okay, next question. What would you say was the most underrated country? Like, what place did we go to that you think really slipped under the radar and really took you by surprise at how much you enjoyed it?
We did already mention them in the honorable mentions because we had such a great time there, but the ones that took me by surprise, where I didn't realize how much I was going to love it, are Jordan.
Yes.
I didn't expect what I came away with from there.
No, it was awesome.
Everything from Amman and the people in Amman just being so kind and so welcoming, to the experience we had at Petra. I mean, Petra's incredible.
Yeah.
And then obviously I just mentioned Wadi Rum was amazing as well. So Jordan, definitely. And then the Dead Sea. Like, what a cool experience is the Dead Sea. Like, there's nothing else like that.
No, so unique.
That was amazing. And then another country that slipped under the radar for me, and again, I've already mentioned this country. Like, I knew I would love Thailand and Vietnam and all these other places. But yeah, Argentina just took me by surprise. I did not know what an affinity I would develop for that country.
That's fair enough.
So those are my two underrated. What about you?
Yeah, this is a difficult one.
Yeah, you came up with the questions. Why are you challenging us?
I mean, I'm allowed.
You're allowed.
I want us to think about it, really reflect, you know?
Okay.
I would probably say Colombia took me by surprise.
Okay, that's a good one.
Really took me by surprise. Like, everybody is super nice there. The cities that we were in were gorgeous. I think the one thing that really knocked my socks off was the food. Oh
the food.
My word. We had just really good food throughout the whole of Latin America, but like Colombian cuisine, for one reason or another, just really stood out to me.
And it was dirt cheap, too.
Yeah, which also really helped.
Like, the quality was high and the price was low, and you can't go wrong with that.
No, you really can't. That one really crept under the radar for me. I think I'd heard just really good things about so many of the other countries we went to that I was just like, you know what? If this ends up being as good as everybody says it is, then I'll expect it. But Colombia kind of went a little bit above and beyond for me. So I think that's probably my pick.
Awesome.
Obviously, I would say that in terms of how we scheduled everything, I think we did pretty damn well. But there are inevitably going to be countries that you feel like maybe you could have had a bit more time in, or maybe places where you just kind of felt like you were twiddling your thumbs and you overstayed. So the first one, what's a country where you thought that we overstayed?
I think we both have the same answer for this one, because I think it's only one country.
Yeah.
Should we say it together?
3, 2, 1.
The Philippines. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we had kind of done everything we wanted, and we had a little bit of extra time until our flight out, which was booked on points. We were asking locals as well as other tourists, where should we go? And the one place we knew we wanted to go that was actually Donsol, because you can go swimming with whale sharks. However, it wasn't in season, so we knew that wasn't an option. Had that been available, I don't think we would have felt like we overstayed our welcome. Because of that, we just had to find something else to do.
Yeah.
So we ended up going to Siargao based on recommendations, and it's lovely there. But I don't think it was lovely for the amount that it cost us, because getting there was an okay price. Yeah. But we had so much difficulty getting out of there. Just to give you, it cost us $700 to get out of there. Like, it was a real problem when we would have expected it to be like $100. And part of it was our fault for not booking flights earlier and so on. But it just turned out that we spent too much time in the Philippines, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
But the rest of the Philippines was amazing. So don't take that the wrong way. It's just we spent too much time there.
No, exactly. Yeah, I think it was definitely that. It kind of just felt like once we were in Siargao and we maybe spent a day or two just kind of going around on the bike and doing all of our sightseeing and stuff, we had like a few more days tacked on. I was like, right, okay, so we just kind of, sit on our hands and not really do anything because we can't? So, yeah, I think that was kind of the one place where it felt like we were just kind of hanging around, but... I think most of the other places, we maybe took an extra day here and there, but like we needed it because
to relax.
Yeah, because I think this is another part to it. If you really just keep hurtling along at 1,000,000 miles an hour and you don't let yourself have time to rest, especially when you have work to do at the same time, you're going to burn out phenomenally quickly. So this is actually a pro tip from us. Make sure that if you are going to travel in a similar fashion to what we're doing, just give yourself that extra day per country, I would say. Because I think that will do you the world of good. Like, set that aside, either just to catch up on work or just to do absolutely nothing. And it will really help you out.
I think you had a second part to that question.
I did, which is, what is a place that you wish you had had more time in?
I feel content with everything we've done, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
If I could never return to those countries, I'd still be satisfied with what we saw. There's not one country where I think I didn't... No, actually, maybe that's not true. It's Argentina, then.
Argentina's the one.
Argentina is the one, because I don't feel satisfied with having just seen Buenos Aires when I know there's so much more to see.
Yeah.
I mean, I've just heard that, you know how there's Rainbow Mountain in Peru, and then there's the Salt Flats in Bolivia? Apparently, Argentina has these too. And I just think it's incredible that they don't get as much notoriety as in the other two countries. But I'm kind of excited about that because I think it means that there's probably going to be less tourists there.
Yeah.
And also wine region.
I think Argentina is definitely a fair shout. I'm not sure if there's necessarily kind of another one beyond that I can think of where it's like I would really want to spend more time. I think possibly Korea. Like I have said that I wanted to go and explore more of South Korea because like Seoul was awesome and I loved it so much, but I feel like I would want to explore more of the country. So that one I think is probably the other one besides Argentina where it's like I feel like I've genuinely got unfinished business.
Okay, I like it.
Yeah. So we've now gone past the kind of best and worst. Now we want to get a bit deep.
Okay.
I ended up just putting out a few questions so we could just go a little bit deeper into our experience and really reflect.
Okay.
So the first things are, what do you feel like you learned from this whole experience of around the world traveling?
There's a few takeaways, and I think you maybe share some of them with me.
Yep.
I think number one, I realized how much stuff we have here in North America.
We do.
And how little we actually need, and that we place way too much value on materialistic things.
Yeah.
I would much rather have memories and experiences of traveling and learning about new cultures and history and meeting new people and having new food rather than have some huge house with the latest car, the best tech gadgets and clothes and stuff. That's just not important to me. And I mean the fact that we were able to live out of a 20-liter backpack and a carry-on for an entire year. And it's not like I ever felt like I was running out of clothes or I needed something more. That was literally enough for me to live with.
Yeah.
So that's number one. And I think that does go hand in hand to my next point of it's made me appreciate some of the things I have at home more. And when I say this, I don't want people to think like I think what I have at home is better. It's just what I'm personally used to in life.
Yeah.
But I'm sure that the people where they have these things I'm about to say, like that's normal for them. And it doesn't mean it's worse. It's just that I'm not used to it because I didn't grow up with it from the time I was a baby.
Yep.
So for me, it's uncomfortable. So when I'm home, I appreciate always having hot running water.
Yes.
That's one thing. Being able to brush my teeth because we have clean tap water here. And then I guess the third thing that it's made me really appreciate, and this one is really personal preference. I hate a wet room. I hate wet rooms, okay? I know they have them in Europe too, because when I lived in the Netherlands, our house had a wet room and I hated it just as much then too. But so many places have a wet room, for anyone who doesn't know, is when there's no separation between the shower and the rest of the bathroom. So when you're showering, the sink could get wet, the toilet could get wet. Just as a girl, I don't want to sit on a wet toilet. And also, let's say Nick has showered. I don't want to walk, if I have to go to the toilet after him, into like the shower water that's still on the floor because it's dirty water because he washed himself with it and it's soapy. I'm like, I don't want my feet to be in that. So anyway, It's just, that's a personal preference thing, but like I appreciate that at home I have separation between the shower and the toilet.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you?
The wet room thing is not a big deal for me at all, but I do completely understand like the kind of gratitude reset kind of thing that you get. I think it kind of just made me realize a couple of things as well. You know, we have so many kind of health-based foods and things like that around here, like stuff that is kind of formulated to go with specific diets, and everybody's kind of looking for the next best thing to get them in the best shape and make them as healthy as possible and all of that kind of stuff. And we've tried doing all of that, and we've been frustrated because we didn't kind of lose weight, we didn't feel particularly healthy or anything like that. And then we've gone to a bunch of these countries where they don't put like anything else into their food other than what's there.
It's just natural. It's back to the basics of what you can grow. And
through just having that at the portion sizes that they were providing to us, we just lost weight. It just fell off us. That was it. Like, I think probably my shape when I was going through Southeast Asia was probably the thinnest I've been since my teens. Like, and that is literally all just down to pure home cooked food.
Yeah,
that's it.
Nothing
more, nothing less.
Home cooked natural food. But what I really appreciate on the food front too is that it doesn't seem to be as much about big industry there either. People have their own chickens and grow their own vegetables, or they just have their own animals, and it's very small scale. And so you're getting kind of organic, farm fresh food. I mean, I don't know what the individual person is doing who has a family chicken, but I don't think they're injecting it with any kind of like steroid or hormones.
No,
they're just growing it and then they use it when they need it, kind of thing.
Yeah.
And also then these animals have a really nice life because they have lots of room to run around, and it just seems more humane and natural.
Yeah, and just simpler as well. I think there is definitely an emphasis on just keeping food simpler. Not to say that you don't throw in like a lot of spices and herbs and stuff to really add flavor, but certainly in terms of kind of the raw ingredients, you don't need a lot to make a good plate of food.
Yeah, because people are making their own bread and their own noodles there too. So and because it's fresh, there's none of these preservatives in it.
Exactly. Two more things I can think of. The first one I think was really just that made me really miss my family and friends for a bit. I think this is something we just have to talk about when like traveling for the extent that we do. Like, at the end of the day, like, yes, we are doing some of the most incredible things we'll have ever done in our lives, and like we are kind of swept up in that while we're on the road, but every now and then when you kind of get a minute to yourself, you're kind of just like, I wish I could bring this person with me too. I wish this other person could experience this with me. I know this person would really love this bit of it.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, it wasn't just from a sense of kind of wanting to be around those people because we know them, we love them, and we just miss them, but it's also like knowing that they would get just as much out of this, if not more, than we would in certain places as well. Yeah,
when you're having amazing experiences, you want to share them with the people that you love. Exactly. So you would get kind of nostalgic for that, for sure. So for any of our family and friends who are watching, we want you to come travel with us, please. Come more.
Thankfully, we were able to meet a bunch of people along the road who were also just super cool people. We just vibed and it was a good time. So yeah, like having more people outside of the pair of us, who obviously we love each other, and it's a very special thing to get to travel the world together.
Yeah.
But, you know, even outside of that, like having other people to really experience the whole thing with is equally special.
Yeah.
And then the final thing, and I think this is just something that I'm progressively trying to apply to life. Things are going to go wrong. And it's going to be really stressful. Like, for some people, it's going to ramp up their anxiety to no end. But no matter what happens and no matter how bad it gets, it's going to be okay. Stuff's going to get worked out. There will be a solution, and you will still get to do pretty much what you want to in the long run anyway. It's all going to work out. I know that there's a level of discomfort that you have to get there, but things just shake out. I think, you know, we did have cancellations, we did have stuff that was a big roadblock for us, or we ended up having to like spend more money than we wanted to get ourselves out of the situation. Shoutout in particular is one of those. But you know, sometimes those things are going to happen no matter how well you plan, and that's okay. I think there's definitely value to just being able to roll with the punches. So I think that's definitely a lesson that I'm continuing to learn even to this day in my mid-30s. So yeah, I think those are probably my biggest lessons. The next question, here's a good one. Now that you're home, what do you miss the most about traveling?
I didn't come up with an answer for this before the video because I don't know.
Improv!
I miss the freedom, I think. And the fact that we're always doing something new.
Yeah.
I mean, I love routine, and we have routine at home, but it's the same old things that we do, and they're things that I enjoy. But I like new experiences and learning about history or experiencing a new culture or trying new food or meeting new people. And that to me is what travel is about. There's always something new. It's something you haven't seen before or done before. And to me, that's freedom and luxury. And so, yeah, I guess that's what I miss most about traveling.
I think that's probably a better answer than I'd give. Because I think there is definitely an aspect to the freedom and just always having something to look forward to. Because I think that's the thing, like you never got too kind of caught up in being like afraid of something being taken away from you, or like you never felt like there was any real pressure, because like even if one beautiful thing was going to end, there was going to be another beautiful thing just around the corner. So just having those kinds of things just really kind of elevated the whole experience. And I think, you know, now that we're back, it's not like we don't have things to look forward to. It's just, it's not as intense an experience of like constantly having something new to get into. So I think that's probably one of the main things that I miss. But onto cheerier notes. Where are we at now? And what are our future plans?
Okay, so we have come back to Canada. Right now, we are trying to get jobs because, as we've mentioned countless times, we saved up enough money and points to travel for a year. I mean, it stretched to more like 14 or 15 months, but we are at the end of that.
We definitely are.
We've decided that we really don't want to stay in Canada. We want to continue our travels, but in order to do so, we are now looking for jobs that we can take on the road. And as I like to call it, we're looking for a bit of a unicorn because we need a remote part-time job. So we've been really, really working hard to get those jobs. We haven't found any yet. And as a result of that, we decided to do our TEFL certification, which is teaching English as a foreign language. So we have just completed that, which will hopefully open a new job pool to us because I think there's quite a few jobs that require TEFL. So wish us luck, but really we only have about a month to 2 months left for us to get jobs and start them before we would like to start traveling again.
And you're probably wondering, well, they're on YouTube, they're getting views, they got this many subscribers, like why do they feel like they need extra money to keep going? Aren't they just getting paid through YouTube? Unfortunately, we're not at the appropriate subscriber count right now to be able to make this possible. This is not to say that we are not appreciative of the community we've already built up. Thank you all to our subscribers that have already done so. We really love the fact that you are engaging with us and that you like our videos enough to keep following us around the world. We are hugely appreciative. Unfortunately, the sad reality is though that that's not enough to actually get your channel monetized. In order to do this, you need well over 1,000, and you need to have the watch hours in order to match up with that. And we are obviously still some way off of this. So this is why we need to still be able to get the money from somewhere. However, we would love to get to a point where honestly, YouTube is just the full-time job. We would love to keep going around the world, having these amazing experiences. We want to bring you with us as well. And while we understand that what we're producing right now might not be the absolute best quality because we don't have the appropriate equipment, by having the money, we'll be able to then upgrade the equipment. We'll be able to then provide potentially a better video and viewing experience for you as well. And really what this is coming down to, and we hate to be these people because we don't generally ask for this, we really need for each and every single one of you who is watching this right now to like the video and subscribe. And also share the content with the people that you know, because the more that you do this, the more exposure we get and the more we can build our community, and the bigger our community grows, the better and more evolved we can make our channel. Mm-hmm. So, like we say, we don't do this often.
I don't think we've actually ever said this in a video before.
No, and I don't want to sound like a YouTube cliche, but please like and subscribe.
And share the video.
Exactly.
Please.
In this instance, we genuinely need it, and this is the only reason why we're asking. Providing all of this goes well, like providing everything goes according to plan, and we do have our jobs though, and we're able to keep, producing content and everything like that.
When?
Okay, when?
Mm-hmm.
When
Put
all of
that
this,
out in the universe.
when all of this happens, universe, make it happen. Then the plans for 2025.
So, we are going to be spending the entire month of December in England with our families because it's been 19 months since we've seen them, and that's way too long. We're not going to be vlogging that. We're just going to be spending quality time with them.
Yeah, the focus is definitely on the family. We got 2 new additions to the family as well because my brother and sister-in-law have had twins, so this will be the first time we'll actually get to meet them. So I'm super excited. And it'll just be nice to catch up with the family because it's been such a long time.
Exactly. And then after that, our plan is that in the new year, we are going to go and spend from approximately the beginning of January until the middle to end of May in Asia. Mm-hmm. Do we want to say what countries we're thinking of going to, or just that we're going to Asia in general?
We have certain ideas. Mm-hmm. Certainly, there are parts of countries that we've already visited that we would like to go back to.
Yeah.
And on top of that, there are some new countries as far as our videos are concerned that certainly we would also like to visit, and they are on the short list. So as things become a little bit more crystal clear, then we'll start engaging with some people, probably through our Instagram and through our YouTube community, to maybe get some recommendations. So with that, just watch this space, but certainly very excited to head back to that part of the world because we do love it there.
And then at the beginning of June, we're going to head back to England.
Yep.
Because my aunt and uncle are actually going to be flying over probably with my mom. Mm-hmm. And we're going to do a road trip, I think, through Ireland.
Yep.
And then also it is Nick's mom's 70th birthday.
Yep.
And so we'll be going back to England to celebrate that.
Yep.
Before coming back to Canada at the beginning to middle of July, because I unfortunately have another doctor's appointment. Everything is fine.
Everybody stay calm. What's the procedure, everyone? What's the procedure? Stay calm!
But it's just regular checkup based on things that are going on.
Yep.
So we have to be here for that. And I mean, Canada in the summer is beautiful, so I think we'll probably stay here for July and August.
Absolutely.
Before
we go back to South America. This is definitely the plan, because while obviously our tour of Latin America was pretty comprehensive, there were some bits that we still left off. And the reason for this is because we just didn't feel like we had the time.
Or the money.
Exactly. But we're hoping that by that time that we do have both the time and the money to be able to really do this properly. So I think the intention is to head back to Peru.
Mm-hmm. There's more Peru we want to do.
And then go through Chile and then start doing the bits of Argentina that Rachel is clamoring to do. Mm-hmm. So the intention is to basically start in Peru and just head south.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. If anything else comes up, or, plans might change, but wherever we end up being and whatever ends up happening, we are definitely going to be taking you along for the ride, or at the very least helping you catch up with us.
I think this was a crazy long video.
It was. We're very sorry for the amount of talking, but I think it's nice to just take stock and reflect on the experiences that we've had, because not everybody gets to do this, and I feel phenomenally lucky and privileged to be able to have done this.
Yeah, absolutely grateful. And again, to reiterate, thank you so much for following along on our journey. I hope you're enjoying this. If you're not subscribed yet, subscribe.
Please.
If you can, share our videos with your friends and family so that we can keep doing this and bringing you along on this crazy, amazing adventure.
Absolutely. And we'll look forward to bringing you yet more travel content as 2025 continues. So until next time, take care.
And keep smiling.
Grab whatever drink you want, get yourself in a comfortable position, and we'll take you through our year in travel.
Thanks to Spotify for the inspo.
If only we had those graphics. Okay.
All the accommodations in New Zealand were more expensive than...
Australia, you mean?
That's right. Okay, let's try that again. You can put that in the paper.
Yeah.